Hey, what's up? It's Duskmos. Today we're going to be taking a look at the BeatStep Pro from Arturia. So the BeatStep Pro really is a wonderkind of a multi-controller. And by that I mean it pretty much can do anything and has pretty much all the options one could look for in a pad-based MIDI controller. You've got a control mode, 2 sequencing lanes, and a drum sequencer that is actually more like 16 sequencers. Transport control, you got looping and roller effects. You can jump around your steps in your sequence. Swing, randomness, probability. Each of these is a small display that gives you information that you need for all your settings. Here, tempo or note value. Across the top, you've got these 16 encoders that either are mapped to the individual notes, or you can use them in control mode to send CCs for other parameters. We've got the XOX style trig buttons here, 1 through 16, but you page through to get, to 32, 48, or 64. And these playable pressure-sensitive pads that also light up and react to your sequences. For such a slim device, there's tons of I/O on the back. You've got individual drum triggers on little like CV mini jacks. You've got MIDI in and out on CV mini jack. You've got clock in and out as well on mini jack. You've also got individual pitch, gate, and velocity outputs on the back for sequencer 1 and sequencer 2. You've also got a USB mini jack, so you can hook it up to your computer or other devices that use USB for information. So like in my demo, I have the Buchla Easel Command, and that has the USB host card installed. And so I'm able to plug it into the USB jack to power it as well as control the device, which is really cool. And it even has a physical on and off switch. So if you need to power it on and off, but you don't want to disconnect it because of all the different cabling options in the back and all that stuff, you can just flip it with a switch. Which is crazy because a lot of things, for some reason, don't have power switches anymore. I don't know why, but really cool that's on there. I think I just hate leaving stuff on if you don't need to. It just is wasteful and doesn't make sense. So anyway, personal side note. So yeah, I'm going to get it hooked up to the Buchla and we're going to give it a go. And then after that, I'm going to try to hook it up to the Moog Werkstatt as well as a drum machine to use multiple sequencing lanes at the same time and kind of demonstrate how that works. Let's get it hooked up and check it out. Okay, so to kick things off, I've got the BeatStep Pro set up with the Buchla 208C Easel Command, a really cool vintage, although new edition of a vintage synthesizer that has been around for a very long time, I think since like the 70s, and really cool, really characterful, and lots of hands-on control, as you can sort of kind of see the bottom of these faders and jacks and stuff. Really cool synth. But I thought this one would be a good example out of the menagerie of things that I have, because right now this has a USB host adapter like bolted into it. It's like an upgrade thing. But anyway, it's a card and it allows you to plug straight in. And so it's cool. I'm powering it with this micro USB going right into it, and it's also controlling it as well. So first things first, as you look here, you can see we're on project 3. I've got the sequencer control here, so 1, 2, and then a drum loop situation going on. Right now I don't have anything hooked up besides the Buchla, but I'll demo in my next segment how to use multiple sections at the same time. I will, however, make use of all 3 just to demonstrate here. So even though I only have it hooked up to one piece of gear, we'll use each of these kind of as their own controller lanes. So as I mentioned, you can see we're on sequencer 1 here, and you can see the keyboard's lit up so I can play it. So that's really nice, really handy. Obviously, you see it's kind of laid out like the black keys up here, white keys down here. So very playable. The pads are nice and responsive. So as you can see in the this section here, you can see we set up to 16 steps in our pattern. We can go up to 64, but at first we're going to start with 16, and I'll show you how to change that as we go. But right now with the keyboard, we're in the home octave, but you can switch octaves quick with these hotkeys here. So you have octave down, octave up, so you can... So if you know what you're doing and you're a good keys player, you can hop around, which is very cool. You can tell if you're up or down an octave because these won't flash if you're in kind of like the root C. And so you see now when you're down 1, you've got kind of this slow flash. When you're down 2, you've got a faster flash. And then when you're down 3, you've got a full sort of turbo flash going on. Same when you go up. Kind of slow flash, faster, fastest. And it goes up and down 3 off the root. So to kind of set myself up with a bit of a tempo to punch in some notes along to, I'm going to set a couple notes in on the 1st and 9th of the 16 so we can kind of get a little bit of a tempo going. So you have a couple ways you can do that. You can live record it in and hope for the best, which I'm not going to do here. I'm going to live record my playing on top, but instead I'm going to program those. So right now, if I hit play, you'll see the sequencer steps run, goes 1 through 16, and then it'll restart because it's only 16 steps. Now, if I want to punch in notes, I can punch them in just like that. And you'll hear it's just triggering this, the root C and the octave that we're in, that middle bass octave. So you can hear it. Same. And you can play on top of it. I'm not recording these, so I can move up. So that's cool and everything. But say you want to change the pitch of these. So these knobs are set to automatically be mapped right now to the pitch of these. So you can see that here with pitch, velocity, gate. So if I want to change the pitch of this first one, so I can go up or down, and you see the note information is displayed here as well, which is really cool. So I'm going to go down to C2 on that one, and I'll leave that one where it was. Another cool thing is you see, it's just displaying the tempo right now, but if I press, just touch it, I don't have to click or anything, just touching that knob will show me what the settings are. We see C3. We go to 9, C3. Yeah, that's the only one we changed, so it's the only one that should show anything different. So that's really cool because you can program in some notes, and then if you decide you want to change them, you have the ability to do that on a knob per step basis, which is really cool. So say I want to elongate this pattern and make it 32 steps instead of 16. You can do that here by using these controller left and right buttons here. So you see this red one moves. I'm on 32, 48, 64. This would show me if I had notes programmed on any of these. So right now I could actually punch in a lot more notes and they're not going to play because it's only actually playing back 1 through 16. So I'm going to remove these because we don't want to go up to the 64 steps. But say we do want to go to 32. Well, I'll punch in 1 and 9 again. Still, you're not hearing them. And that's because I've only paged to that bit of the full 64 steps, but they're not active yet. So you see the light running here showing you it's only going 1 to 16. So if you want to change that, you hit last step. Make sure you're on the selected page so you can see now that flashes and now that becomes the indicator, and you just tap this 16 and you see now it's playing back. So you can still page between, so you can see, although there's no change because we don't have different notes here, but say we punch these in. And then you can go over to this page as well. So pretty cool navigationally, makes it pretty easy to hop around. So now I want to actually switch this note, which I had, I think, set to C2 on this page, here, C3, which again is like the base C of that middle octave. Now, if I wanted to, I could twist this knob and just get it aligned, but if I also wanted to, so that's this one, I went down the octave here, and I could just hold that step and hit the key I want. So that's cool. If you don't want to bother turning the notes, you know what you want to play in, you can hit whatever step you want. Let's see, that was a bad. Let's see. There you go. So that's cool. If you want to program in, that's the way to do it. Well, really, you have the two options. You can do it that way, program it that way, or program it with the knobs. Again, the knob would correspond, so if I want to change this fifth step, I could find a bad note like that one. This should sound better. Yeah. Now what's interesting is you take that away, and the step is removed from the sequence, but if you want to return it, you just tap it again, kind of wake it back up, and it'll play what you set it to. So these haven't changed because they're still that kind of root note. So that's pretty cool. If you punch all these in, again, it'll just play all of that root note. So say I don't like that, remove it from the sequence there, and I'll just let it play. It'll still be in there even when I switch, but I can switch over to the second sequencer. Now the Buchla is a mono synth, so that's why I can't really play a lot of notes at the same time because it's not polyphonic. If you had a polyphonic synth hooked up to this, you would be able to do that. But I'm trying to play in between the notes. But what's cool is, say you hold down a note, it'll cut when the next one comes in, at least on this Buchla, so that's pretty cool. So it lets you kind of jam without really squashing the notes that are already in there. Unless you happen to trigger it at the exact same time. I did notice I could get that to happen. Yeah. But if you hold it before it triggers, you're safe. Pretty cool. So say on this one, I want to add another layer to our sequence. I'm still controlling the same MIDI channel. Obviously, you can hear me playing the synth, but again, you change your octaves. But we can record that in. So let's live record, actually. And there you go. Easy as that. I'm removing those notes for now because I decide I want to now make this 48 steps. So let's try that. So again, you go over here, you sort of cursor over to that, although you don't really have to do that first because you can choose last step and you have to kind of do that again anyway. But it's easier because you are on this page. So there you go. So this one will run, you see, all the way up to there. And it'll hit here and then jump to that. So I'll go ahead and record. love those notes there. But that sounds cool to me. So now we've got these two sequences playing on top of each other. You can cursor between them. You can page around and just kind of see what's going on, which is cool. But if you want to, you can mute this second lane, so now it's only getting that first lane. So you can kind of punch in and out of your sequences and get different feels going, which is really cool. It's still in the record mode because this is still lit, obviously. But again, you can and play on top all you want, which is really cool. So I'm going to page around and say I don't like these notes. And actually say now on this 48 steps, I don't want it to be 48 anymore. I want it to be 16. I can go last step, hold that down, mouse or cursor over, and then make this the last step. So you can hear that's all looping this now. So now what's kind of cool is if you hold down the sequencer selection wide button here, you can hop down or change like the like transposition. So which is really cool. And you can even hop octaves as well. Really neat. Now you can enter the shift mode and change some options here. So if we want to play this in reverse, the only problem now is this is playing over this, so we can remove that one. Put it back, and we will shift and go forward again. Now what's cool is you can change up the timing of just this lane. So you can see we've got a slower movement. Or like a really fast movement. So I'm gonna get rid of those notes, but you can see how fast this is running. Let's just see what we get. Not good. Also switched up the keyboard key. Let's go back to normal chromatic there. So that wasn't the best sounding, but it's a cool feature. to actually mute that one so you don't have to hear that, and I'm just going to do some crazy stuff. So let's see what we get. So that tempo's too much. So that's cool and everything, but say it's too high pitched. Went down an octave. Went down 2. Again, we can turn on and off steps. I'm going to unmute this one now and see how they interact with each other. That's cool. Let's transpose it again. Again, so mute that. We're back to our original speed there. Original track there. So too many notes. Okay, I'm stopping there. I'm going to hop back into this sequence and actually, let's see, let's clear it. So you can shift, clear pattern. But I thought now I'd show you how this works in regard to recording note length, just because I didn't do much of that in this last sequence. So let's try, again, we'll move this to last step. We'll make it 32, choose 16. You could choose a different one too if you want it to be an odd number of steps that would, in each lane, that would kind of give you an ever changing sort of, yeah, like evolving pattern, which would be pretty cool. Is that polymetric? Is that what that is? I think so. But yeah, so now we've got 32 steps on this pattern, and we'll just record some notes in. Let's see, I'm going to go an octave down, and let's try it out. Oh, I paused it. Okay. I forgot I was supposed to do note length. There you go. So I don't love this part, so let's get rid of some of those. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to go to this second lane here, and I'm going to make this looks like you can't change the last step while you're in record mode, I just realized. But I'm going to make this one 5 steps. So you can see it looping there. So this will always be off time to what's already being played back. So let's go up an octave. Next we'll go up 2. Maybe just 1. And I'm just going to record in one note. Sounds terrible. So that's interesting, right? Like, maybe it doesn't sound that great here. Let's get rid of that. Maybe I'll go down an octave. that's going to come in at odd times, interact with the pattern that's already going. I'm going to stop it because it didn't sound that great, but that's just because of my own immediate musical ability or lack thereof. But you can see how that would be really cool and really allow you to kind of spice things up if you kind of set everything at off step lengths and really have that, evolving, interesting evolution situation going on, which would be really cool. So I'm actually going to remove that step from here, play back that which only had notes on this sequence, and show you this roller looper thing, which is pretty cool. So as you can see, it will freeze on steps or group of steps. And do some cool rolling, looping stuff. But if you catch a note or a non-note, you'll have different experiences. Say, let's fill this up with notes on every step. So bear with me, this could get weird. Change up the sound a little bit. So there we go. So now every step is filled. We'll double check that. Yep. Going between pages here. And now when you grab it, you'll at least always get something frozen. And I play a lot of different notes so you won't hear too much variation, but let's try to add some. I'm going to make the notes on the synth a little bit more like a little pluckier. We'll try it like that. Really cool, really fun, and I like that when you unlatch it, it continues on from the step that it should be on instead of starting where you caught it, which is nice. So you'll always kind of stay in tempo. Your sequence will return the way it was before you engaged the roller looper. Very cool. Okay, there's also this randomness and probability and swing feature as well. And yeah, let's play this current pattern and try it out. hear that swing kick in. Pretty cool. I guess we could also try now again to tweak all these knobs and see what kind of sort of note variation that we get just manipulating a sequence that way. So let's try that. It's going to get very modular, bleep bloop. Also going to turn off some steps. May increase the reverb here in the synth. And change the timbre. So we can change, you know, you could change any of these. So like 3, for example, is currently turned off, but you can still change it. So you can see as I turn the knob, this is going up to, I don't know, F4. And so if I turn it on, you heard it, it was almost sounding like a little bit of a little like hi-hat kind of sound. So you can edit steps that aren't even live at the time, which is cool. So now we're only on the 4 beat. And so you can change 1, 9, 5, and 13, or 1, 5, 9, and 13. So yeah, lots of ways. Again, press and hold, hit notes. Super weird. Really fun though. So yeah, that is pretty much the core functionality in a nutshell. Really fun to get in and tweak all the patterns and try out all the different ways you can get some variation in your notes, write patterns, edit patterns. Really cool. One thing I didn't show is that you can change patterns just by clicking through here. So if you had multiple, you're transitioning, like you're doing a show or something, you can easily flip between patterns, have them muted, queued up, ready to go, unmute, boom, you're in that next one on that lane. So really a lot of features and a lot of just a lot of control and a lot of cool stuff that I think would make this really performative, which is a really nice sort of side benefit. Okay, so I've had this set up with USB, as I mentioned, but I'm going to switch it over now to my Moog Werkstatt and use CV and gate out of this, and also match it up with a drum machine so I can control and use this drum track and show off how that works. Let's check it out. Okay, so now I've got the BeatStep Pro set up with the Werkstatt from Moog and the Akai Tomcat over here. We got some stats and cats. And so the way I have this set up now is the gate and pitch information is coming out over CV from these jacks here, going right into the appropriate jacks on the Werkstatt. And then for the Tomcat on the drum channel, I've got the drum pads mapped to these pads. And as you can hear, the pressure sensitivity carries over as well, which is really cool. So here, like, if I get just like gentle hits, it's more hollow. And then if I hammer it a little bit harder, you start to hear the noise, which is cool. The MIDI mapping is a little tricky for the Akai. The documentation just isn't out there anymore. So I was only able to figure out how to map 5 of the 6 sounds, and they're almost every other key as well. And this is actually an open and a closed hats. So they sound very similar, but they're technically 2 of the different pads there. So yeah, pretty fun to finger drum on. The pads are pretty firm, but a little bouncy. Definitely responsive, so that's really cool. So up here on sequencer 2, sending note information over, as you can hear. I have all of this routed into my TX6 from Teenage Engineering going into my camera. An independent channel, so if I have to adjust anything, I can. But yeah, that's basically how this is all set up. And so I can just kind of apply what we've already learned from the earlier sections now to this setup, controlling a couple other pieces of gear. So because I didn't really cover it in the last section, I'm going to program these drums in. And so the way the drums work, as you can tell, they're not individual keys really, and the sequencer is a bit different. You have the individual sounds that basically work as like their own bank, for example. So like if you go in here for the kick drum, you can program it on, 4 on the floor style. And then when you switch instruments, you see those triggers go away. So you're able to individually program this, and let's just hear how this sounds. And there you go. I had the distortion on the Tomcat, so just pulled it down, but you can see so I put it in record mode, so now I can just record these in. So that's really cool too. If you want to just live record, just like the other modes, you can do that. Turn down the snare a little bit. So now we can switch to the sequencer. Well, sequencer 2. I'm just going to record something like that in. Oops. Stopped it. Didn't mean to do that. There we go. There we go. So now if you want, you can master control the tempo here. Drop in some more notes. use the roller. Or the, I guess, looper in this case. Really fun. We can change the sequencer playback mode. Just do that so it's forward now. You can see it matches here. So we'll switch it to alternate. Oh, you know what? I transposed it. That was wrong. I meant to shift. So now you can alternate. Pretty cool. Drop some steps out. Don't like that one so much. Obviously that's no good, so I'll change these notes. That's cool. So I'll go ahead and show you this because I didn't do this in the last note. I can switch the knob control from pitch, velocity to gate. So we can go to gate and let's make 7 like a longer gate. Doesn't seem to work. Oh no, I removed it. Probably not doing that right. It works for the note though. It's probably how I have it hooked up or something. Let's remove that. We'll record and I'll just punch in a note and see if it can do something to help. So clearly it does record that information. Cool anyway. Switch over to the drum track. You can mute it. You don't have to be in it to mute it though, but a good performance feature. So we can play this sequencer track also, reverse, alternate. It's probably weird for drums, but let's hear what it sounds like. Yeah, a little weird. Reverse sounded cool though. Alright, we'll go back to the synth and let's see, let's make it a longer sequence. So still doing alternate back and forth. Let's record some new notes in. Okay, I want to get something on basically every step. Let's go ahead and just add those in. squelchy acid territory. Pretty cool. And yeah, we can turn off the steps. Let's add the clap in. I'm gonna record it. Okay, let's go crazy with some of the pitches here. Just because we can. Go back to the drums. You can change up the sort of like clock division, basically. Just clear this, and we'll, okay, we're playing back and forward mode. Just gonna record some new drums in, just because. Alright, we'll clear this pattern. And there we go. A little bit of a jam, just showing how using multiple lanes on the BeatStep Pro can work really well with something like a little mono synth, a little drum machine, and yeah, bring everything together. So what do I think about the BeatStep Pro? Well, I think it's a really robust piece of gear that has obviously lots of control. That's its main purpose in being. And yeah, it just has everything that you need, I think, to control a setup, whether it's modular with all the CV stuff or some, vintage gear as well, with the same, control setup, sending clock over, just like a patch cable instead of Midi if you want. And with like the volt per octave control on the back, for example, it's like I can hook it up to my SH-101 and sequence and program it with this. Really cool. As well as pair it to the newest stuff over MIDI or just over USB directly. I think build quality is super nice. The whole base of it and back and whatever is the whole chassis is metal, and it feels really sturdy, really solid. The pads are firm, but I feel like they feel good to play, so that's always nice. And these encoders, it's really cool that you can just touch them and it shows the information or their value on the screen. That's a really nice touch, pun intended. So yeah, I think if you're in the market for a really flexible, really robust little mini controller, I think this thing could really fit the bill. It's been around for quite a few years now, and I definitely see it as being kind of like a standard in a way that other things are compared to. And yeah, if you have a need for something like this, I definitely recommend the BeatStep Pro. Also, quick shout out to Arturia for sending this out for me to demo. Really cool, really awesome of them. And yeah, it allows me to definitely show more types of gear on the channel than just pedals. And it's kind of fun checking out this other stuff. So definitely let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think about these types of videos. So anyway, that's going to be it for me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.